This is Lynette Carrington from the Scottsdale Progress, Scottsdale's own hometown newspaper. I'm here at Wasted Grain this morning for a very exciting VIP breakfast. What's the occasion? It's the 67th annual Parada del Sol Parade and Trails In Festival. We have a lot of great people to speak with this morning, so let's get going. Joining me now is Scottsdale Mayor Jim Lane. Mayor Lane, thank you and welcome.
Well, thank you, Lynette. It's nice to be here with you.
We have so many fun things about Parada del Sol, but one of the most important things is how the city of Scottsdale steps up and really supports this event. Tell me about the city of Scottsdale and their involvement in the 67th annual Parada del Sol.
Well, this is a great historical tradition for the city of Scottsdale, and our involvement has been throughout the decades, has been first and foremost. I mean, it is a wonderful thing to bring our community together, and frankly, not only the city of Scottsdale and our residents, and reminding them of our past and our roots and our cultural background. It's also something that we get involved with a lot of our neighbors. A lot of tribes are represented here, and tribal nations, and of course other communities, and so just a lot of groups that have been with the city of Scottsdale as well as our schools and everything. It brings a lot of things together, and as we grow, it's all the more important that we keep engaging everybody and keeping this tradition on. So it's been great.
I absolutely agree with that. And what people may not know is Mayor Jim Lane is such an amazing steward of the city of Scottsdale. Maybe not since Herb Drinkwater have we seen someone so involved in the Western culture and the preservation of the city. We absolutely love it. And what are you most looking forward to today?
You know, I'll tell you, we have a lot of things that are happening today other than the parade as well. Yes. We have the Indian Festival that is here, and this has been really a more recent event. We have all 22 tribes in the state. It's the first time, 3 years ago was the first time they'd ever gotten together as a total group, and it was right here in Scottsdale. And they've carried on that tradition now with 3 years of tradition, but nevertheless, we're honored to have them here. So that's something to look forward to. And the Trails End Festival at the end of the ride immediately is also just a phenomenal addition to what we're doing in downtown and really preserving what's going on in downtown in that historical perspective.
Mayor Jim Lane, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here with you, and nice to have you here, Lynette. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Joining me now is Don Chiapetti. He is the treasurer with the Parada Committee. Now, as people can probably imagine, there are a million moving parts, and you are sort of the master of coin in regards to making this all happen. So what is involved with the financial portion of the Parada del Sol and Trails In Festival?
Well, first, thanks for having me, and I'll explain a little bit about that. This is an all-volunteer core group that puts on this event. Huge event, as you mentioned, big Trails In Festival, big parade, and there are a lot of moving parts. Primarily, we're a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. There's a group of 20 core volunteers that all volunteer their time. So all the financing comes from outside sources. Our biggest partners the city of Scottsdale, Scottsdale Tourism, and Experience Scottsdale. And we're really grateful to our community partners, especially Scottsdale Progress, Scottsdale Independent, the Scottsdale Charros, which have been really instrumental in helping us, and Discount Tire, Chapman Auto, some of the other local community businesses that donate their money and time and expertise. We also trade out some in-kind stuff with a lot of the local merchants, and so it's a labor of love, and it gets expensive, but it's all funded from outside. It's a non-profit corporation, so it's all donations basically.
This is, again, such a big event, and there are so many people that are in play. What can you tell me about some of the different things that your many volunteers do as part of this event?
Wow, everything from the meetings to coordinate with the American Indian Festival. Our volunteers do the staging, the lineup for the parade. We have pacers, we have community liaisons, we have merchant liaisons. We have a whole plethora of day of volunteers, probably 50 or 60 people. We have a great community partner in Entertainment Solutions who donate their time and expertise as well. So there's no shortage of volunteers, ranging from manning the kids zone to helping break down bands to helping move J. Johns. It's just it's a big event, and there are a lot of moving parts.
This is exciting, and it truly does take hundreds and hundreds of people to make all of this happen. Don Chiapetti, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Peace out.
Joining me now is Parada President Wendy Springborn. And Wendy, you have so many things that you are doing on behalf of this festival. What can you tell me about the event itself?
Well, the event, it's our 67th annual Parada del Sol parade. We're so excited. This is something that has been, personal story for me is I've been in it as a child in grade school, marching in the bands and all that. So it's so exciting to see how it's expanded. We have nearly 150 entries today. We're displaying our Western legends. So we have two great co-grand marshals from representing both the Navajo and Hopi tribes for code talkers. So such a historic representation for Arizona. But we've got a display of our Western heritage, our Hispanic heritage, and our Native American heritage. So you're going to see so many beautiful entries going down the parade route, lots of horses. You know, it's just a fun family day that's free. And everybody just come on down. The parade starts at 10. We go from 10 to 12, and then the festival's from 12 to 4.
And this is the 67th annual. Do the math on that one. That's a long time. How many people are you expecting today between the parade and the Trails and Festival?
We really average anywhere between 20 to 30,000 people that come down and see. Some are here for the whole day. Some come down for the parade. Some for just the festival, and then, everything in between.
This is truly a legacy event, and it's so exciting. And we had talked to Don Chiapetti earlier about the importance of volunteers. What can you say about your team of volunteers? I know they give so much.
We have such a hardcore group, just a small ragtag group. We're about 15, 20 that plan year-round. But then we end up with about 75 for the day of the event. But we always need more because there are so many other things that we want to do and be able to provide for the parade just to keep the things running smoothly. So we're always looking for volunteers.
Is there a website where people can go to find out more, not only about the parade and Trails End, but more about the entire Parada organization and how they might be able to help?
Right. The website's at paradaparade.com, and just you can log on in there. We've got all our information and opportunities for people to help out for the day, but just letting you know what all the events are all about.
For you personally, Wendy, what is the highlight of this day for you?
I am just so excited to see all the people that are coming out to support Scottsdale and support this event, and just they're having so much fun. And that, like I said, it's family, kids. Just, it's a blast.
Well, Wendy Springborn, thank you for all that you do for this legacy event. It was a pleasure to speak with you this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your support, and we greatly appreciate it.
And now we have the publisher of Scottsdale Progress newspaper, Scottsdale's own hometown newspaper, and president of Times Media Group, Steve Strickbine. Steve, welcome.
Thank you.
It is so great to have you here today. Now, there was an opportunity that arose for Scottsdale Progress to be involved as a hometown sponsor of Parada del Sol Parade and Trails and Festival. What can you tell me about that?
Well, first I'd just say this goes back a long time. Obviously the Scottsdale Progress having put out its first paper in the 30s. This is a 67-year-old event, which is crazy. That's a big achievement. But the relationship and kind of the involvement, I guess, of the Progress goes back quite some time. So for us, it's pretty natural. We're the community newspaper in town, and this is community news. We want to be a part of it. It's also benefiting a charity. So anytime we can do that, we do.
That is wonderful. And indeed, the Parada del Sol does support the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which is a fantastic organization. Now, in terms of your work as the president of Times Media Group and publisher of Scottsdale Progress, you actually relaunched the Scottsdale Progress after it had been defunct for a few years. So tell me, in the year and a half since you've relaunched the publication, what has the community response been, and what have your milestones been?
Well, the community response has been, even before it came out. I'd say before it published, I was kind of just absolutely shocked at how many people had contacted me saying, gosh, thank you so much for bringing back Scottsdale's newspaper. This is a very involved, a very engaged city, citizenry, and they didn't have a newspaper to call their own, so they finally do. And so since then, it's just been nothing but really positive engagement. I think we've been able to really participate in some significant events. We've brought about some really, this year, for instance, we'll be hosting some candidate forums, things of this nature, that really weren't going on before that have returned with the paper. So it's just been really excellent. We've been able to be involved in things like this. We're also a sponsor of the Scottsdale Center for the Arts major charity event a couple of months ago, just things like that. So anytime we can do that, we are. And, it's just, I guess, a mark of success. I'm really happy we did it.
Doing wonderful things at the Scottsdale Progress. What are you personally most looking forward to at the parade today?
Well, I'm riding in it. I'm supposed to sing the national anthem. I've got a bit of a cold, so I'm gonna fight through that though and do it. That's not something I'm looking forward to, but it will be fun. So I'm looking forward to all of it. It's going to be a great day. It's a beautiful day out there.
It is gorgeous. Steve Strickbine, thank you so much for taking the time to stop and chat.
Thank you.
Joining me now is Dennis Robbins, the Executive Director of the Scottsdale Charros. And Dennis, welcome this morning. The Scottsdale Charros have so much to do with this event. What can you tell me about your involvement with the Parada del Sol and Trails In Festival?
Well, we've ridden in it for 53 years, so one of the things that we like to promote is the Western heritage of Scottsdale. And so we do a charro ride every year for 150 to 200 riders for a week out in a ranch in Arizona. And this is the other side of our Western heritage celebration, is to be part of this event.
And I know there are a lot of man and woman hours involved in this event, and there are so many moving pieces, and it is so much fun. Moving forward, what do you see the Parada del Sol and Trails In Festival as part of a legacy event of Scottsdale? What do you think about that?
Well, it really does bring the community together, and it does celebrate our Western heritage, and I think that it has a really good neighborhood feel, and I think with the Trails End celebration, it's very kid-friendly and family-friendly, so I think we could just build on that over the years, but I think people really love to come out and enjoy.
That's wonderful. Now, for those people who maybe don't know too much about the Charros, is there a website that they can go to either find out more information or possibly volunteer with you?
Sure. So charros.com, pretty easy. And we were created back in the 60s to help run spring training baseball. And so this year we'll be out there again with the San Francisco Giants. And we have a VIP section in right field. We sell most of the advertising out in the baseball stadium. And then we give back all of our money to local charities and to public schools.
Well, thank you so much for all that you do. So batter up and giddy up with the Scottsdale Charros. Dennis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Joining me now is Elida Chapella, and her husband Frank was a code talker back in the 40s. What can you tell me about the work of the code talkers?
I just don't know what the code talkers work, but he was a first leader of the code talkers, and he worked for the government as a ranger, and he was one of the lawyers out home, and took care of animals on the ranches, and I just do the home care for, like as a cook and take care of the house, take care of my mom. Yeah, so he was a hard worker man.
So back then, when he was actually doing this work as a code talker, which was so vitally important to our winning the war, were you aware of the work he was doing at the time?
Yeah, I was aware of what he was at the time. Yeah, he was a agency worker. We have a home in the ranch, you know, what he built for us. And we have about maybe 10 children. Yeah, and beside my grandchildren. These are the two that's grown by us. These two, Jarvis and his sister. We raised them up. Everything was done with me and Frank, you know. He built us homes, you know. Yeah, he built us homes. The last home that he built, that was at the ranch. That's where we were living at, and then he built 3 homes at the village down below where we're living now.
Well, this is beautiful, and the Parada del Sol Parade and Trails End Festival is so proud to have the Code Talkers as the Western legends, and truly they are. It was such a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much for being here today.
And I'm glad to be here for my husband.
Thank you. Joining me now is Leander, Yaiva, who has a rich history with the Code Talkers. Please tell me about your deep connection.
My deep-rooted connection with my family, especially my grandfathers, both Orville, Wadsworth, and Travis Yaiva, go to our traditional values and the way that I was raised, utilizing those exact same values to evolve to the person who I am today, but also just recognizing their contributions to the campaign on both sides of the family. So I'm very honored and blessed, and I feel very honored to be here to represent the family.
So think back to when you were a little bit younger. When did you first become aware of the work that Orville was doing?
Not until way later. He was a very humble gentleman. He never spoke of the war. He never talked about his contributions to the campaign. I didn't find out until I was probably in my early teens when the family disclosed his contributions, and even then it was in a very humble manner, and he didn't talk about it very much at all, just because he felt that he did what he needed to do and in honor of the people and his values. So it wasn't talked about much, and the whole family was very humble about it.
Is there anything that you do on an ongoing basis or maybe an annual basis to honor our Code Talkers?
Usually events like this, the whole family comes together and we honor and we recognize their contributions. And typically this is how we honor it every year.
This is wonderful. I really appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much. One final question. What are you most looking forward to today?
Just the honor and the respect that's going to be given to my grandfathers and just the parade in itself.
Thank you so much for stopping to chat with us. Have a great day.
You too.
And joining me now is Hopi Vice Chairman Clark Tenakhongva. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good morning.
You are here as part of an honoree of an amazing group, the Code Talkers. And what can you tell me about this group and the importance that they serve in our history?
Okay, we have 10 Hopi Code Talkers, 8 of them which served in the Wildcat Division in the U.S. Army. And then the last 2 that were recognized back in about 2009 was Rex Puyama and Orville Wadsworth, which was out of the Army Air Corps. And so they communicated as far as going back and forth between Rex and Orville. But the 8 initially that were inducted into the U.S. Army were selected as, very highly qualified individuals. Now, out of the 10, it just so happens that we have almost every village represented from one of the Code Talkers. There's, like I say, 10 of them, and we have 12 villages out there. Several of them come from First Mesa. There's one from Mashangnavi, one from Sangopavi, one from Bakavi, one from Hopevilla, and one from Munkopi that served in the World War II. So, as far as we know, is that they were one of the initial groups of people that were recruited to serve in this capacity. As far as the history goes, is that there was a total of 33 different tribes that served. 5 initially served during World War I. It was such a successful campaign in Europe. So from there, the military then saw it as a vital asset to how military operations goes, and so that's how it ended up being utilized as far as the other tribes were concerned. The Navajo tribe, of course, is the most recognized, but the part was that the U.S. government wanted a larger contingency, so that's where the Navajo came in at the tail end of all the Code Talkers that had already been utilized in World War I and II. So Hopi is what they call the Type 1 Code Talkers, that they devised their own code, set their own format of how to use the language during the operations of wartime. So we finally got some of the records back probably as late as, I would say, about 1990. From that point on, we started working. And finally, in 2009, we officially got them recognized both at the tribal and at the state level. Then, in 2013, they were finally awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in November 23rd. I remember that, with the other 32 tribes that were represented in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, by the time they got to the recognition, none of them were alive. They were all deceased by that time. Rex Puyama, the last one that passed on, he was the one that probably missed the award ceremony by about 2 months.
Wow. So tell me, as a legacy, how does the Hopi tribe honor its code talkers on an ongoing basis?
Okay, so with this, the former vice chairman, Herman Honani, wanted this as something to go as historical in both Hopi and Arizona history. So starting in 2011, we started officially recognizing them on April 23rd, which is the Hopi Code Talker Day.
Okay.
And that's by resolution. And so they are recognized on that day. This year, again, we will officially recognize the one code talker, which will be Warren Koyakwaptiwa, who is officially one of the individuals that's on the medallion of the Hopi code talkers that we designed.
Beautiful. Clark, it has been amazing to speak with you this morning. Thank you so much for being part of this momentous event. It was a pleasure. Have fun today.
I will, but I just want to let people know is that, although, these individuals, the 10 individuals, weren't even U.S. citizens at the time they were in the military. And of course, the goal was at that time, the U.S. government was prohibiting Native Americans for the use of their own language, cultural ceremonies, and religious activities. But they saw a valuable resource in the language, which nobody could decode because there were so many other tribes that were utilizing their code. So it really confused the Japanese and others who were in World War II at that time. But, I always say this, as a veteran myself, is that you can press a button to a missile. You can press some kind of, with armor and whatnot, it will kill people. But the part is that they didn't have to press anything. All they did was use our language, which is Hopi, and which saved the world in a sense. And one critical part of this, which I would like to say, is that Rex Puyama, who was honored last year, of course, in the military, you don't know where your next mission is going to be. All he was told, he was going on approximately a 30-hour mission. So when he flew out of wherever the air base was at, he didn't know where he was going until he was told that, okay, it's time to drop the bombs, which he directed the aircraft carrier and the crew on there, and sure enough, they dropped the bombs. It was 2 days later where he was looking at the newspaper and he saw what damages was done. And with that, he went to his grave feeling very guilty about what he had been involved with, and that was the bombing of Hiroshima. So he was one of the bombing crew members on that bombing mission to Hiroshima, and that's what ended the war. So, seeing women, children burned, that was something that he could not face, and it was very difficult to comprehend and deal with on a daily basis. But he became a very famous man in his own trait. But other than that, that's the story I got from him.
Amazing. Wow, such a rich legacy. Thank you again so much for being here. It's been lovely to speak with you.
Well, thank you again and allowing us to be here and tell the Hopi side of the Code Talkers a little bit. If I was to tell you the whole story, it would take me a couple days. Was we sitting here because I would be telling most of I got the opportunity to know 8 of them when they were still alive.
Wow.
So I got to talk to them personally. Previously, before I became the vice chairman, I worked with the Department of Veterans Affairs, so that's where I got the opportunity as a counselor, and so I would visit quite often some of these code talkers that were still alive at that time.
Amazing. Well, and again, thank you for your service. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and enjoy the parade, enjoy the festivities that's going on here in Scottsdale, nice warm weather compared to my -5 up north.
Thank you, Clark. It was a pleasure. Thank you. It was so lovely to speak with you.
I'd like for you to, a small memento from the Hopi tribe, the Hopi Code Talkers.
Thank you.
This was the last year's shirt that we gave out.
Shane.
And it's got also their names on the back of who the Code Talkers are. So, in honor of our Hopi Code Talkers,
Thank
present
you.
this T-shirt.
Thank you so much. And joining me now is Geri Hongeva. She's the Arizona Indian Tourism Association president. She'll have so much to tell us about what is going on today. Welcome, Geri.
Hi, good morning. Yats Epine.
This is so exciting. So as part of this event, we also have an Indian festival taking place this weekend. Please tell me all about that.
Yes, we are going to be located right near the Scottsdale Performing Arts, which is part of the Civic Plaza. All outdoor event, no admission, family fun activities, bring the kids, bring the family. We have a lot to do. We're going to have different Indian villages throughout that area. And then we have, of course, as you know, we have 22 Arizona tribes. So if you want to come learn more a little bit about each tribe, from culture, language, heritage, songs, dances, even attire. We have traditional dwellings set up as well. So if you want to see a real life-size hogan, come there. You can walk inside the hogan. You can see the size, the model, and all the things that you would see inside a home.
That is so exciting. So as you do this event, especially over the last few years, are you really excited about the things that kids learn at these type of events?
Yes, definitely. You know, I think that everybody is very curious, no matter what age you are, especially the children. You know, at such a young age, you're learning different languages and different cultures and different games. You know, there's games that they can do. There's storytelling. As you know, kids are great listeners and they absorb everything that they're around. So if they're hearing words and languages and different types of dances and songs, and you learn that, oh, they're mimicking you, but they're also learning really fast. And, you know, a lot faster than us adults. But you know what? That's why we're there. You know, we're there. It's for people to ask questions, for people to learn, and also be a part of the community. You know, I think that that's the great thing about the state of Arizona is we're a very diverse community, and we all get along so well for so long. And I think that during Western Week, it's a time to celebrate that. You know, it's a good time to share all these stories.
It is. And for anyone that maybe is not familiar with your association, do you have an official website where people can go to learn more?
Yes, we are at ArizonaIndianTourism.org, and we helped tourism and travel destinations throughout Arizona, all the different Indian communities. A lot of times, you know, people are not sure how to get a business started or how to market their tour company. So we help other business owners and Native American communities, help them get started, help them market and promote their areas. Because you know what? People come to Arizona to go to Monument Valley, to go to Lake Powell, to go to Winter Rock, you know, to go to Tucson, and, you know, all the different parts that state of Arizona has to offer. And Indian country is our backyard. You know, we're there to help and serve everybody coming from different places all over the world.
I think Arizona is one of the coolest tourist states in the entire U.S. I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah, definitely. You know, somebody recently asked me, what's your favorite place to go and travel? And I have to admit, you know, I've been to England, Ireland, Hawaii, Paris, France, and, you know, different parts of the world. But my favorite part is always between Lake Powell and Monument Valley, that backcountry area, very remote, unseen. You can hike, you know, you can boat there, but it's not a place that's disturbed. It's still very serene and brisk, you know, very beautiful area, untouched. And those are my favorite places on Navajo Nation. But, you know, we all learn from each other. And as I said, you're welcome to come ask questions. Come on over to the Civic Plaza. By the way, we're going to have bread, fried bread, all the different types of native cuisine. So if you have different cravings for different staple food items in the Southwest, come on over. We have a variety of food there as well.
Very exciting. Geri Hongeva, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we're looking forward to seeing more at the festival today and tomorrow.
Definitely. Like I said, today we'll be there 10 to 6, and then tomorrow on Sunday it's going to be 10 to 4 p.m., and you can park nearby. There's 2 parking garages nearby, all within walking distance. Bring maybe a little blanket or something to sit down on. We have a main stage entertainment. I'm also the coordinator there, so we'll have a lineup of dances. We have the Apache crown dances coming over. We have the Hopi traditional dancers, and then we also have the Twittineshet singers, Navajo, up from Monument Valley area. We have the Wallapai traditional dancers. We have Zuni. We also have the Colorado Indian River tribes, Crit for short, and also Pascua Yaqui. We have some deer dancing. The only thing I always mention to people is be cautious of your photographs and videos. For example, the Pascua Yaqui deer dancers, they don't allow any video and photography. Sometimes it's always, polite to ask first and just say, can I take video? Can I take photographs? And, these are things just to be aware of. But everybody else, it's a social dance. You can come out and join us. You can be a part of the dance and learn how to dance.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today. We're so excited for this weekend. Thank you.
Awesome. Hagonet.
And joining me now at the VIP breakfast at Wasted Grain is Todd Davis with the Parada All-Stars. Tell me about the Parada All-Stars and what you're doing.
Well, the Parada All-Stars is a program that recognizes those who've been recognized over the past year by different organizations in Scottsdale. A school team, a community leader, a civic leader, someone that's already won an award. They get nominated through the mayor's office, and then we pick them, and they get to be nominated or recognized today at the parade.
In what regard? Do they get to ride through the parade line?
They are invited to ride in the parade line, and afterwards at 12:30 they'll get awards on one of the stages from the mayor.
That is fantastic. Do you have some ongoing work that you do throughout the year in terms of the Parada?
Yeah, I volunteer to be on the committee, so I support the Parada, the committee, with the All-Stars, also the announcers program we've helped, and wherever they need it. So I've had a lot of fun doing that throughout the year.
Todd, we appreciate everything that you do on behalf of Parada del Sol because it's such important work. What are you most looking forward to today?
Well, kind of the history that my granddaughter's coming at 1 year old today, and I actually was at the Parada in the 60s as a young person, being a native of Scottsdale. My dad had an office on Brown Avenue, and we got to go to every parade. So I'm looking forward to just having my granddaughter here and just seeing it.
That's it. Bringing all of the different generations on board for this iconic Scottsdale event. Todd Davis, the Parada, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Joining me now is Jason Johnson, the owner of Wasted Grain, and this is the headquarters of the VIP breakfast for the Parada del Sol Parade and Trails In Festival. Jason, thank you so much for hosting us.
Oh, no problem. It's my pleasure. It's our pleasure. We enjoyed doing this last year. This is our second one, and we really think it's a special event, so we're happy to be part of it.
And what can you tell us about maybe a little bit about the history of Wasted Grain and the fact that you are right smack in the middle of Old Town Scottsdale?
It was called Martini Ranch for many, many years. We came in and kind of remodeled it and rebranded it a little bit a few years back, and we still do what we do. We have our live music and our nightclub, and kind of a one-stop shop for everybody. We want to offer something good for everyone.
It's very exciting. Jason, what are you most looking forward to today?
Oh gosh, I want to look at the parade. I like seeing all the kids in the high schools and all the marching bands, everybody that kind of comes up and practices all their stuff and wants to show for the crowd and everything like that. So it's fun doing that, and then going down and seeing the bands at Trails In. I really enjoy all that.
Awesome. And Jason, thanks to you and to Wasted Grain for everything that you do for the Parada. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.